This is Money Mentors, where I sit down with curious minds of all ages to guide them through their personal finance journey. It's all about the why, what, and the how of money. Rahul, wonderful to have you here. There is lots that we are going to talk about today. But to begin with, give me a little introduction about yourself, what you do, your background, and then a little bit about your investment and financial journey.
So I'm an engineer and MBA grade by education. I'm having a small logistics company.
Excellent.
And then I am a marathon runner by passion.
Okay.
So it's a combination of all three, you can say.
I know, it's moving goods and moving yourself for your personal and physical health. So very nice. Right. And how about your money journey? How's that been so far?
The first investment is made by your father in an LIC policy.
Right.
Which you have to pay for next 20 to 25 years.
Correct.
Then he only introduced me to the PPF account. So when I was in college, my PPF account was opened. And then my first investments were during the, you can say, .com boom and bust days.
Okay.
So all the Infosys and Satyam and Silverline, all those.
So मतलब आपने बहुत देखा है, right? I mean, you've seen 22 years of the stock market.
2008 भी देखा है.
Very nice, excellent. Rahul, what we have here at Money Mentors, we have a ritual, right?
Yeah.
And this ritual is about a confession. What would you like to really learn? What's your confession today with respect to money?
So a marathon runner is always very, very conservative.
Okay.
Because when you're running the first kilometer, you don't know. You might be very, very enthusiastic, but you are thinking about the 21st or the 42nd kilometer.
That's right.
So same thinking synced into my investment strategy. So I was a long-term, you can say, conservative investor.
ठीक है.
Okay, but now actually I feel that I have accomplished a lot of goals. Like stocks also, I'm confused that a strategy should be changed. Like,
okay.
But what I should do? It should be intraday trading or what?
मतलब अब तक आप मैराथन दौड़ रहे थे, now you want to run a sprint. मतलब अभी उसमें ज़्यादा मज़ा आ रहा है.
Yeah.
Now intraday, FNO, these things are basically very high risk, high return strategy. But there are still very interesting high risk, high return strategies that you can do. So the personal favorite that I have is short term equity strategy. Typically, आप long term में क्या करते हो? You are buying a stock and you are holding it for a infinitely long period of time. But in short term, what happens is you get into that strategy, you buy the stock, and then you have a certain amount of target that you want to achieve. Once the target is achieved, then you sort of sell it.
Yeah.
So the beauty of this is it's fast, it's quick, it gives you that feeling of a sprint. But I would say that what you have been doing is absolutely right also. The long-term conservative style of investing, and which we say a lot of times, that long-term investment is a very boring kind of investment. Where you just invest, let that money grow, let those companies do their own job, you focus on yours, and then those portfolios, those investments will also do their job and deliver you the goods over time.
Many a time what happens, we enter into the equity market as a short-term investor.
Right.
And due to market condition, become a long-term investor.
So 90% of the people क्या होता है ना कि they want a quick return, ऐसे फटाक से investment किया, they expect that every investment they do is like a rocket.
Yeah,
you know कि invest किया and next day 20% का circuit लगना चाहिए. But very often it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
Then you are waiting करते sometimes what will happen is you will change your strategy and then you will say चलो कोई बात नहीं, let me make this a long-term part of my portfolio. And you know that typically.
And short-term is always considered as more risky compared to long-term. I don't know.
So you know how this works really is that आपने short-term delivery तो ले लिया. Now I would like to use the word volatility, not really the risk here. You see, what may happen is the stock market might be down 5% only, but आपका जो stock है वो 20-30% गिर जाएगा. Best way you want to do is you want to decide your time frame. Beyond 1 year, don't do a short-term strategy because then the idea of a short-term is defeated. If you're taking a weekly strategy, so maybe Saturday, Sunday, you just want to check ये week में क्या हुआ and what should I adjust and how should I go ahead for the next week. If you have a few months on hand कि अगर आपने decide करके रखा है 12 या 14 weeks का strategy है, 3-4 months, 5 months kind of a thing, then it's okay. You see?
But so, here we are considering कि market will meet my target. Will
correct.
Go up and meet my target.
Absolutely.
But reverse can also happen.
Absolutely, reverse can happen. So how do you decide कि you know ये मेरा target बन रहा है नहीं बन रहा है? How do you actually take a decision on that, right?
Yeah.
So ideally you would look at charts. You would look at technical analysis. So you would look at candle structures, and based on that you would make an investment. Sometimes along with the candle structure there is news and information also which is flowing in the public domain. So you might want to join the two things together and then take a call. You know, candle structures में बहुत सारी चीजें आ जाती है, but then the conviction factor has to be high. Whatever parameter you are taking, example MACD or ADX, or if you are looking at RSI, whatever you are doing, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 combinations you can do, whichever way you are doing your activity. But look at that and decide that I will restructure my portfolio on a monthly basis or whenever the target is reached, you see. So that way what happens is you can prevent your losses also, and when the market gives you your return for your stock, you sort of get out of that stock
So
also.
we need to keep things simple.
Keep it very, very simple.
Very simple.
There are screeners which will also tell you कि ये candle structure बन रहा है ये particular stock में, and that's the way you can make a position in that kind of a stock.
तो you can say कि इसमें सिर्फ फायदा ही है कि कुछ नुकसान भी है.
No, so see, सबसे बड़ा फायदा ये है कि it's liquid. यानी कि if it goes down reverse, so you have your stop loss in order. You know that I will take a maximum hit of maybe 5% or 8% or 10%. So you do that. But the advantage is huge, right? Because liquidity है. But now if you are trading in a illiquid stock, तो वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा problem हो सकता है. तो you look at the volume कि क्या चल रहा है. Second is the returns can be really quick. So खास करके जब the market is in a rally or या trend में चल रहा है कोई market, and when it goes down, I would not recommend to do FNO and things like that. So you wait for these uptrends. So whenever the uptrend comes, and you will find uptrends coming in the market all the time. So your candle structure will tell you that.
So normally our tendency is when the market is moving up or stock is disproportionately moving up, we try to stay away and wait for the stock to fall. So normally we are on the sidelines most of the time.
See, I'll give you another very interesting thing for you and for all the viewers that are watching here. Go top down, in the sense look at the index. So index का candle structure देख लो पहले. So once you've seen the index, for example, you look at the pharma index or you look at the metal index, then you start looking at the stocks within that index. And then you decide that within the stocks, what is the chart structure looking like. So if you, for example, find that pharma chart is looking bullish, and within pharma there are these 8 stocks below that, उसमें से these 3 stocks are having a similar kind of a pattern like the index, then you can actually take an investment position into those ones. So the biggest advantage is you have liquidity, you can sector rotate very quickly. Matlab sometimes there is cement which is in favor, sometimes there is sugar, sometimes there is metal category, and then the stock below it. Then that way you will generally not go wrong. And then third is the stop loss. So once you do that, then I think you are set, and then you have 2 or 3 parameters, which is your chart combination or news plus chart combination.
Okay. And how much ROI should we expect from these short-term strategies?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to just write something on the whiteboard. But basically what happens now, Rahul, it all depends on your time frame. Okay, what's the time frame that you're looking at? So for example, there are 4 things that are happening, right? So for example, if you are looking at a weekly basis, okay? So weekly can probably expect anywhere between maybe say 2 to 4%. Not guaranteed, of course, with a stop loss and all those rules that I said. Now, if you, for example, look at, let's say, monthly 4 to 6%. Okay.
Which is the 1-year FD interest rate, you can say.
Typically, you can earn possibly this thing within a month. Okay. So let's look at half year. Okay. So 6 to 12% is what we can expect in, let's say, a half year. And in a full year's time, you can expect 18 to 24% or even a little more than that. So all this is possible. Now, why is this important? I'm so glad that you pointed this thing out for you and for all our viewers. You know what happens is when we are investing from a long-term point of view, which is what you said right in the beginning, all that ranges somewhere in the range of about 14 to 20%. So, like you are saying, kuch alag karna hai.
Mine is 12 to 15%.
Precisely, right? And today you are in a situation which is much better than what you were maybe 20 years down the line. You see, what happens now is you have some surplus money, you want to keep some money aside, but that's the kind of return that you can really expect to have. So invest from a year's point of view, from a target point of view, and when my target is reached, I will get out of that.
So like in running, we say that there may be good day and bad day. So whatever if there is a plan A, there should always be a plan B also.
Absolutely. You know, in fact, there's something else also which I want to show you, and for the benefit of everybody else. Okay, let's just draw a line here. Suppose you've got this 100 rupees. Okay, this is your portfolio. Okay. Now, how do you actually, really speaking, use this as like a super fast engine to really fast pace your portfolio? So out of this 100 rupees, now viewers, for your benefit, this is the allocation we are talking only for equities. Okay. So assuming you have 100 rupees into equity, maybe you want to distribute 70% of your money into what we call as long-term strategies, which you buy and hold because you don't have the time to get into this day in, day out. And therefore, if you sort of allocate about 30% of your money to this short-term equity strategies, it might be a good idea. So don't put too much of money. To begin with itself, you don't put so much of money. So automatically, you don't have to worry about too much in terms of volatility and things like that because आपका जो long-term portfolio है वो तो अपना काम कर ही रहा है और वो autopilot पे चल रहा है.
So this SIPs and mutual fund are part of long-term portfolio?
They're all part of long-term.
Okay.
Short-term equity strategy is very, very precise. It's very, very accurate. You are only buying stocks from a delivery point of view. This is another dimension, another piece of your overall cake, from the equity section. Something which is doable. It's not impossible.
So as a businessman, when I'm involved full day in my own business, will it be possible for me to do short-term on my own?
My disclaimer here is, you have to be an equity investor for a long time.
Okay.
You should have suffered some loss so you understand what a loss is. Otherwise, the panic level can be very, very high. So this happens. Even if you have a stop loss, it can just go down really quickly if you've forgotten to put a stop loss or something. And can you do it yourself? Yes, of course you can do it yourself. There are two conditions there. One condition is that you should be in a position to monitor it. Maybe you should employ somebody to monitor it if you don't have the time to monitor it.
Yeah, but there is nothing like mutual fund, na?
No.
Mutual fund.
See, what happens is there are lots of experts, but like I was saying, there are two things, right? एक तो monitoring हो गया, and दूसरा selling हो गया. So lots of times, we can't be greedy about the whole thing. So if you see that you've invested, you are making your 20%, your 30% level has come. Suppose on a chart you've seen that this stock is at 100 rupees, and I think ये 140 हो जाएगा बड़े आराम से. So then you're looking at a 40% target for that. Fine, that's not a problem. But once that happens, please get out of it. This is a very practical situation, very practical problem that happens with all of us, you see, including कभी-कभी हमारे साथ भी हो जाता है ये. Now, like you mentioned, I'm glad you mentioned that also. Can a professional basically come in? Yeah, they can, and professionals have a lot of stuff. In fact, there are professionals who might be doing F&O strategies also.
Okay.
So once you get into this dimension of this 30%, there are lots of options. अब ये 30% लिखा है. Suppose your portfolio is 1 crore, then your 30% is 30 lakhs. If your portfolio is 10 crores, then it is 3 crores. And 3 crores mein you can actually have a lot of people who can actually do different things for you, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times people don't ask and brokers also don't check unless they find that your portfolio is of a sizable value, then the relationship manager will come and give you some ideas.
So I also understand that when you are hiring a professional, I think the same chart and same rules are applied for crude also, for
pretty
currency
much.
also,
Yeah.
for crypto also, whatever.
Absolutely. So charts are charts, right?
Yeah, charts are
Across the
charts.
board, Rahul, all the charts are the same. But it depends on speciality. Now, some people might be specialists in commodities, so they will continuously look at that. Some people might be specialists in stocks, and they will continuously keep looking at that. But again, step by step, right? So, first thing you've been doing long term for yourself, you can do short term. You can choose 1 or 2 or 3 indicators. If you want, you can enroll for some course. You can learn a few things yourself.
Yeah.
There are enough YouTube tutorials also available for you. So, you can pick and choose something. But please understand, this is a seriously high risk and a high knowledge kind of a skill. और ये skill बनते बनेगा. It's a skill.
Or you can say that 30%, 80% go through professional and 20%
हाँ,
go. That's a learning experience for you.
That's a learning experience. In fact, that's a fabulous suggestion that Rahul has given here. So in this 30%, depending on the quantum of your money, if you want, you can manage a small portion of this yourself, and a bigger portion you can hire a professional. To do this.
Yeah.
Or you can give it to your brokers. Brokers are also running these kind of strategies all the time. Yeah.
And if you feel that you are doing better than your broker, then you can
of course keep to yourself. And not only that, if you think it's not working for you, then please go back to your long-term strategy because your long-term strategy was at least giving you that 12, 15, 18%. So did you enjoy our conversation today?
Definitely.
Yeah? So we have another ritual now. What are the 3 or 4 things that you can immediately think of from our conversation, which you can start implementing the moment you walk out of this room or tomorrow morning, if you like, in the stock market?
So the key takeaways, what I feel is, number one, that a small portion of your portfolio should be dedicated to short-term investments also.
So capital allocation of this 30% or whatever percentage you feel comfortable. So a small capital allocation.
And then markets are risky, but that risk appetite or volatility can be managed through your stop loss or capping your profit also.
Yeah. Strict stop loss.
And third, I think the last takeaway that we discuss is कि इसमें आपको कुछ तो हारा हुआ भी होना चाहिए. तो हार के जीतने वाले को बाजीगर कहते हैं.
So it's experience.
It's
So,
experience.
so what I would like to say as a takeaway is, okay, give it time. Okay,
Yeah.
so spend some time on this. Don't go all in on the first day. Go little slow, step by step. That's the way you will become better over a 6 to 12 month period. Give yourself time to learn this thing. Once you get confident, you can move in further with a lot more money into this strategy. Right?
Definitely.
So Rahul, with that, thank you very much for joining
Thanks
in.
a lot.
And I really hope you had some great learnings from our conversation today.
I definitely will allocate a short portion of my portfolio into this from tomorrow onwards.
Wonderful. Thank you all for joining in. And I really hope that you've had some solid takeaways for yourself as well. But obviously, there's a lot to learn, and we will go step by step. Yeah. So stay tuned. This is Money Mentors, and this is where we teach you how to make your money work for you and to help you kickstart your financial journey. So see you next time. Stay tuned.